Oh, hey Eric, I wasn't expecting you.
Nadine, aren't you supposed to be interviewing Dr. Tim Searle today?
The Dr. Tim Searle?
Yeah, like in 5 minutes, he's expecting you.
Oh shoot, let's go! So, Dr. Searle, I understand that you have had 3 integrated healthcare practices, as well as most of our viewers know, you teach at CCNM. What strategies have you implemented to maintain success within multiple business ventures?
That's a great question. Time management becomes a huge part of it. You know, if you know that you're dividing yourself up between several different places, you have to know when you're actually giving your time to one of those areas that you're giving the most of it. So, you know, if you know you're going in one day to teach, you know, how does that entire day look? Everything from what time do I get up in the morning to, you know, how I'm planning, you know, what I'm eating that day to, you know, how am I getting my exercise in, and, you know, all the goals that I have to get accomplished that day. You know, for example, teaching at the college here, you know, what are all the things I have to get done, and obviously looking well before then to make sure that I'm fully planned and prepared to do that. As far as having 3 practices, that was only a short period of time where I actually had 3 on the go, and to be honest, between that and teaching, it was exhausting. So I've been able to change my practices so that I was at 3 practices, and I fairly quickly went back down to 2, and now I'm solely with 1 practice in Waterdown, and it's much more appealing to my stress levels. So it's time management is absolutely the number one thing, and you have to be thinking, you know, several days, even weeks ahead of time to make sure that your timing is going to be working well. So that's the biggest strategy there. As far as keeping all 3 of them going, that's again a time management thing, but you have to be prepared to be putting in the advertising work and putting in the time to make sure that you're growing those businesses. So what I found in each of my endeavors, and I know that I've spoken with plenty of other NDs that have experienced the same thing, is that there tends to be a honeymoon period where a new practitioner comes into an area, and, you know, whether that's, you know, because they're new and they're shiny and everyone wants to get a piece, you know, you know, there's an initial honeymoon period where there's a lot of people that will come in and see you. And so you can have 1 practice in an area, and it can be going great because you've got that influx of people without really having to do too much. And then you have a second practice because you want to be generating a little bit more income, or maybe that's where you want to be focusing long term. And then again, you have a honeymoon period where a lot of people will come and see you, and so on and so on. And then after a while, like any relationship, you know, the lust wears off, and you got to settle into your rhythm, and that's when the real marketing engine needs to be kicking in by that point. And what I found is, yes, it's great to have that honeymoon period, but when you really have to ramp up a marketing engine in different areas, that's where it takes a lot of effort. So I've been able to scale back in areas and focus in one area, and I find that you can have a much more consistent marketing theme in one area, and as well as save a little bit of time and energy. But for getting started, you know, if the ambitious people out there want to be in several places at once, you know, I totally encourage them to do it. Know that it's exhausting, but it's also a way of understanding, okay, if I don't know exactly where I want to be, maybe I could be here, maybe I could be here, maybe I could be here, and use this as a learning experience, knowing that carrying 3 practices is I find unsustainable.
Okay, so for students looking to set up practices in areas outside of the GTA, like yourself, how will recruiting new patients be different for them as compared to NDs practicing in Toronto?
Well, that's a very good question as well. Whether it's rural Ontario, or somewhere else in the Golden Horseshoe, or even in Toronto itself, there's an understanding that needs to happen with the area and the neighborhood that you're working in. You know, who are you trying to attract? If you understand that, then the marketing takes care of itself. So for example, you know, I was in Grimsby for a long time. That was an older community, right? So having a massive social media campaign didn't really work. You know, what really did work was getting and connecting with that demographic of people. Now, of course, the demographic of Grimsby is rapidly changing, and understanding that's young families that are coming out there. So what's the best way to get in touch with young families, and that's when social media actually started becoming a little bit more beneficial. So it really depends on where you are, what the demographic of people are there, and what interests them, right? So if you know that it's a commuter town that you're working in, then time management becomes really interesting to them. So if you're marketing, okay, here are different ways that can save you time by not getting sick, you know, this becomes a marketing ploy for you. So understanding who your target market is and why working with you would be beneficial, that's really the key to any marketing, regardless of where you are.
Right. So when I visited your website, I noticed you had a questions to ask during your visit section, which I thought was a great way to keep new patients keen on coming in, and even had some humor added in. For students just starting their website, what are some helpful online tips you can share so that they can get more engagement from potential future patients?
Well, thank you. Really, that again, it kind of comes down to understanding who your market is. But you know, don't be somebody you're not. You know, I tend to work humor into my website, some of my marketing, whatever, because that's what I do in my visits. You know, that's who I am, and I want to be honest with who I'm portraying myself to be online. As far as what most new students should do is be honest with who they are. Again, know who you're marketing to, so that whatever you're saying in your website or your social media campaigns or whatever, know that what you're saying is actually going to resonate with them. So, you know, why would they appreciate what you're saying there? Beyond that, again, any marketing strategy would have a call to action. So if someone ends up at your website and they're looking around and they're getting really excited about what they see and they're connecting with you because you're writing from a place of honesty and truth. If they're connecting with you, you want to give them the ability to take it to the next step. So what does that mean? Oh wow, I'm looking on my computer. I really, really like what Dr. Tim's saying and I want to come see him. Boom, there's a big button. Click here and book an appointment. Make it super easy for them, because people are scatterbrained these days. If they meet you or if they're checking out your website and they really like it, they'll make a mental note. Oh yeah, I gotta go check that out later and book it. And guess what? They'll see a squirrel and their mind changes and they'll completely forget about it and they've forgotten about you. And it's nothing that you did wrong. It's just you didn't capture them right then and there. So that's my biggest take-home message: is know who you're marketing to and have something ready to capture them, whether it's an email newsletter, an online scheduler, something. But at least you've captured them while they're there visiting you.
Right. That's really good advice. Thank you. Any last tips you would like to share with business-minded students?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a practice management course here at the school. Just make sure you show up to class. There's a lot of awesome tips in there. And the Business Association, you guys have been really fantastic over the last couple of years. So pay attention to what they have to say as well. Lots of information out there. I know you're overwhelmed with all the classes that you've got, but there's a ton of information here, and more of this business information is going to be applicable within your first year of practice than any of the other stuff that you're learning here at the college. Don't forget it, but keep in mind what's most important in your first year.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah,
It was a pleasure meeting you.
You too.